WWE's John Cena taps out to the Chinese government, aka the Chinese Communist Party, over daring to recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. And he does it in Mandarin, no less. Take a listen.
你好，中国，这是叫西娜。我必须说，现在，在速度与激情中，我做很多采访，很多。所以在一个采访，我有一个错误，所有人问我，如果我可以用中文，速度与激情中人给我很多资讯 information。所以很多采访，很多 information，我有一个错误，我必须说，现在就是很重要，我爱更尊重中国跟中国人，我很抱歉对我的错误，对不起，我很抱歉，你必须了解，我。
I feel like the John Cena sucks chance that he's been routinely getting for the last, let's say, 15 years in the WWE are totally justified, because there you have it, WWE legend John Cena punking out to the Chinese Communist Party for daring to recognize the sovereignty of another independent nation, i.e. the people and the government of Taiwan. Tapping out. You'd think Brock Lesnar got his hands on them again. By the way, welcome to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss. If you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and smash on that subscribe button. And don't forget to comment on this video, like this video, share this video. Your interactions on the channel helps fight the YouTube algorithm that is actively trying to suppress a lot of my content. As I've noticed in a lot of my videos last week, my current subscribers are even telling me in the comment section, yo, YouTube is screwing with your channel because they are not getting the notifications from YouTube of my new videos, which is crazy. So go ahead, your interactions on this channel, your subscriptions go a long way with fighting the YouTube algorithm that doesn't seem to like anything that doesn't go against, that goes against the progressive, far left progressive narrative and or dialogue. So thank you. Without further ado, let's get back into John Cena's apology here. I'm not going to go into a long, complicated history of Taiwan, but I will give, just a brief overview. And essentially, there were a lot of rebellions happening in the early 20th century of China. Not to mention, you had wars with Japan to the west, invading going back to 1895. Japan eventually wound up taking over the small island, which is off of the mainland of China, around 1985 and through the 1895 and all the way up until the end of World War II, where Japan was forced to give up that territory. Meanwhile, in the mainland of China, you had revolutions and revolts and rebellions going on in the early 20th century, which ultimately resulted in a lot of political parties forming, including the Republic of China, amongst many. But during the 1920s through 1930s, a more authoritarian military coup was successful in taking over much of the political landscape of mainland China, at least what the United Kingdom or Great Britain allowed them to maintain certain levels of power. And that authoritative rule became the Communist Party. They essentially took over the political and military landscape of mainland China, forcing the Republic of China to retreat from mainland China and go into the now exiled island of what is now known as Taiwan, land that, again, the country of Japan gave up after taking over. They wound up giving up after their defeat during World War II. And for a long time, for pretty much a whole generation or two generations, you had people on the known island now known as Taiwan no longer initially recognizing themselves as part of what was going on mainland China. Japan did a really great, extensive propaganda job of having them see themselves as an independent group of individuals. But then when you had the Republic of China Party retreat from their defeat on mainland China to Taiwan, they want to recognize themselves as the true Republic of China. Bottom line is, for the last 70 plus years, they've been recognizing themselves as an independent nation, sovereign and separate from the mainland of China, but seeing themselves as the true Republic of China. So John Cena recognized them as such, recognized Taiwan as a country as their due, as their right, because they've been operating as such, whether or not China agrees with it or not, whether or not if China believes that they should belong back to the mainland of China and back under the Communist Party control. They own their own rights. They've been governing themselves for the, again, last 70 plus years, 70 to 80 plus years. Who are we to disagree with their sovereignty? And at the very least, you should have the freedom to have your own opinion. But it seems like China owns the United States once more. We saw this with LeBron James and the NBA when NBA coach had the gall to support the independence of Hong Kong and their freedom. You saw China come down on the NBA. This was 2019. And NBA players like LeBron James had the goal to then come down on these coaches or individuals speaking on in favor of Hong Kong sovereignty, all the while saying, quoting Dr. Martin Luther King, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and yet doesn't seem to recognize, you know what, China has been committing a lot of injustices on their own people. Let's not forget that the UN is recognizing the genocide of the Uyghurs in China right now. But no one's saying anything. Why? Because China owns the United States and the many of their actors. John Cena was out promoting Fast and Furious 9. Again, had the goal to recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. But because of all of the power that Communist China Party has, especially in Hollywood and the music industry, I guess not to hurt their bottom line, not to hurt revenues or sales, and the people who pay them, the people with the money, the almighty dollar, he bowed and said, I'm so sorry, China, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. And he did it in Mandarin, no less, in the native tongue of China. Man, he caved real quick. I mean, at least stand by your principles, stand by what you believe, what you say, and don't bow down to political pressure. But he did, he tapped. It's a shame. Again, whether or not you agree with their sovereignty, bottom line is they are a sovereign nation. They are independent. They are separate from the mainland of China. In fact, they have the right to have their difference of opinion, different ideology, and even view themselves as the true Republic of China, so long as they are operating independently and not bothering anyone on the mainland. But that was John Cena tapping. No spine, no courage. We're seeing this bowing and kowtow to China over the last year, even here in the United States, during this pandemic, people trying to conflate naming a virus with trying to be racist. That is not the case. We do condemn all forms of racism and prejudice against any people based upon their ethnicity, nationality, religion, and these attacks are abominable. But to then go as far as you can't even use the name of the country's place of origin of a virus, like we do with the Spanish flu, like we do with the West Nile virus, like we do with Zika, it just goes to show, and we have no problem calling, the African or variant, the UK variant. But God forbid we say the China variant, not blaming people of China, but rather just the place of origin. But, that just goes to show how far Chinese propaganda is really spreading, Chinese power. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you agree that there is just an overabundance of Chinese submission, and I don't mean the people, I'm referring to the government, to the political party, to the Communist Chinese Party. And there's just an overabundance of that, and that they're truly taking over as the dominant party or political force in the world, which is fine for them to do. They should have the right to be ambitious, but they shouldn't force their will on other nations, and other nations shouldn't force their will on other countries either. So, I'll criticize the United States for their military crew around the world and military presence and influence. But this is just really sickening. No longer representing the U.S. Burn your copy of the Marine. He's no soldier. He has no heart to stand up for himself. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks. John Cena, you suck.